Hey everyone, my name is James Osmar, and today I would like to discuss some great things with you. I think you're going to really enjoy this presentation. It's going to take all of probably at least an hour. I want to go in great detail on some of the things that I think will dramatically affect your business and help you skyrocket your sales going forward into the future. Now, just before we begin, I should probably suggest that it's a no phone, no texting, no excuses zone. This is important to the extent that even if you are at home and you're watching it on your TV or your computer or some device, what I'd suggest is that you close the door, pay attention, get a pen, and if you're going to do any note-taking, I wouldn't get big into notes. Mark the slide or the time on the recording as to where you think that you're going to be able to go back and have to refresh your thinking or really wrap your mind around a point that you hear going on here. Because seriously, I'm going to cover a lot of stuff here today, so much so that I'm probably going to go through some ums and ahs and slur my words and stuff like that. I don't want to worry about that stuff because I really want to give you really high-end, top-of-the-line value today. So let's, I guess, begin. I should probably, as I say, introduce myself. My name is James Osmar, and, well, I guess I don't want to start off talking about what it is that I've done in the past so much. That's all this great, wonderful stuff. I had a thought the other day that I thought was very interesting in the sense that it was a memory that I had. And I thought, I wonder if anyone else out there, like me, remembers their first sale. And I don't mean brownies or Girl Guide cookies or Scout cookies or any of that stuff where you had to go out and, stand around in a group environment. I'm talking about something where you had to legitimately go out and sell something unique to somebody else, not a lemonade stand, something where you had to go to sell something to someone else. And I thought, I remember doing this when I was a child. My grandma and my grandpa, they were very encouraging and really heaped praise on me, which probably was a good thing in life because, that helps you. And it helps you in a way that if you're positive about what your experiences are, you seem to do better. In my thoughts, I remember them having a handful of tickets to a fish derby. We were visiting my grandparents in the city at the time, so we were 100 miles away from this fish derby, and my father owned a guiding business at that time, so he was promoting this fish derby a little bit. And if you think back like 50, 60 years ago in the wilderness of Canada, we had all kinds of tourists, especially American tourists, coming through with their boats and motors and everything. And in any event, they were promoting this fish derby, and I saw these tickets and they were wondering how they were going to sell them. And I said, well, I'll go sell them. And they all laughed at me. They all chuckled. They all thought this is hilarious because I was somewhere between 6 and 8 years old. I was a little child. And I still remember getting dressed up to go out, and my mother put me in shorts, and I was so embarrassed to be in shorts because I was a rather shy child as it was. But when it came to selling something, I had this little mind of my own, this experience where I could go and really kind of excel, as I found out as I went through this process. So off I went with a handful of tickets. I think I took 5 or 6 with me. They didn't expect me to sell any, as I found out later. And I went knocking on the door of each of the neighbors, and I would, quietly or shyly, meekly ask them if they would like to buy a fish derby ticket. And of course, everybody looked at me, no, they're 100 miles away from the fish derby. They're not going to a fish derby 100 miles away. And then one of the house doorways that I was standing in noticed that there was 3 draws on there for winning prizes. And it wasn't just for the biggest fish, but there were a raffle style draw. Well, that hooked them. They decided that they were going to buy the ticket because there was this draw on the ticket that they could win without going there. They decided that would be a good investment. As I remember, it was $1 a ticket way back then, which in hindsight, that was probably a lot of money because it was probably 50 years ago or so that I did this little tour around the block. So then I found out I was selling these tickets. So instead of going to sell them as a fish derby ticket, I sold them as a raffle in support of the fish derby, and I sold a few of these tickets. And I went back home, and my family, they couldn't believe it. My mom and my father and my grandmother and my grandfather. Of course, my grandma and grandpa heaped praise on me, and my mother, she adored me for this experience that I'd went through. That was my first experience selling something, where I had to go out and proactively find a buyer for what it was that I had to offer. And I had, even in my little inexperienced mind at the time, I understood that there had to be a value that the person on the other end must receive. They have to find that end result that would please them and make them happy with it. So in any event, that was my little story that I would like to share with you or did share with you. As I went through life, I went on to university and I studied. My favorite subjects were marketing, and that's where I excelled when I went to university. And then I went into real estate right after university. Immediately, I got my real estate license. On a flip of a coin, the stock market crashed back then, and I thought, well, it would be much easier for me to go into selling real estate. And I thought, well, geez, I went to university so I didn't have to work. And yeah, real estate, there's another job where it's almost like not work, which, yeah, that really worked out well, didn't it? I mean, you really have to work hard to be successful in real estate, at least when you're setting up your business. About 15 years, maybe longer now, 16, 17 years ago, I started building websites, and they were lead generation websites. Everything I did was about capturing traffic and being able to provide names and numbers and email addresses and whatnot to be able to, I guess, have somebody to follow up on and start developing relationships with. That worked out well. We often were throwing out thousands of leads each quarter from our 24-hour talking ad line and our internet setup and our calls that were coming in. All the bad leads we just pushed off. We worked them and determined that they were good or bad and got rid of them. Kept the good ones and kept on going, and developed a very successful real estate practice because of this. I went on and became successful enough where I was paid when I sold my real estate sales practice. I sold it for $1 million. This is about a decade ago, and I can share with you that how I did that on another day, because certainly you're not going to get somebody show up one day and say, here's $1 million, I'd like to buy your list. But anyway, I did do that. I moved on then and started building what we're doing here today, and it's evolved to being an incredible business for people who are wanting to grow their sales businesses. And it was because of all of the experiences that I brought together all my life that I was able to build this and bring it to here, to bring it to where we are today. And then I'm going to say it this way. The person who has the most systems will capture the most leads. And the agent that can handle the most leads will sell the most property and therefore develop the most job security. Now listen to that carefully. I said that can handle the most leads. You see, at one point I would buy the back of the free press. I lived in London, Ontario, and I'd buy the back of the free press, the whole back page. I'd put 25 listings on there. I was one agent with 1 or 1.5 administrative staff. Now the problem that I had when I did that is I had to follow up on all the leads. I'd get 60 calls in a weekend, and so I was not closing many because I was spending all my time on the phone following up. So your systems have to be in order, built in around what you can handle. Notice also I said the most job security. There's a purpose in those words, and it's because a lot of people, I think, in real estate consider themselves as entrepreneurs. And really, realtors are for the most part, not entrepreneurs. They are independent business people. They are small proprietors, basically, because my definition of being an entrepreneur is somebody who can take their business, walk away from 6 months, disappear, not talk to anybody, and it runs without skipping a beat. That would be the true entrepreneurial business experience from my perspective. Now, I like to use these images here as a bit of a metaphor, and what I suggest when you are building your systems, each one of those plates represents a system. And when I was young, we would go to the circus, and there would be these plate spinners, and I always found them to be incredibly fascinating. I always truly thought that was one of the most fascinating experiences that I could watch, is these people going around a circle. In some cases, like 50, 60 plates. They're running around spinning all these plates. Well, each one of those plates represents a system. Every one of these plates. There's a system for expired listings back in the day, private sellers, whatever newspaper you were running your ads in. They were all systems, and each one was responsible for bringing in business. And every once in a while, one of those plates would hit the floor and smash. Boom, there goes expired listings. You're out there. There's the do not call list, or there's a change in advertising rules that enables you to get hit hard with that system. So the person that has the most systems will always have streams of traffic coming from each one of these systems, and that is important. Because if you have systems in place and somebody takes one away from you, and it can blindside you. So you really want to have a lot of systems in place. Now, before we continue again, I'd like to discuss what I learned in an experience from a CD set, and it was from an individual put together this great presentation, this great package. It was 14 CDs. I listened to it on a 14-hour road trip, one way and 14 hours back. So I listened to it twice. And the Teachability Index is something that we're all a part of. You can't get away from the Teachability Index. And what that index means is, in the series that I was listening to, they talked about the Masons having 26 different levels of teachability. And if you were in level 1 and you were accepted into the Masons and you passed their standards of learning, you then moved up to level 2 and so on. And if you were fortunate to make it up a few levels, and you were stopping learning, and we all do that. We're all guilty of thinking we already know what it is that we're doing here, and we know it well enough, so we discontinue our desire or our ability to be open-minded open-minded and learn more about the subject that we're trying to engage in and advance in. So in the Masons, you just stop flat. Why I'm bringing this up here is I really want everyone on this presentation to open up their mind, be wide open with it, because there's a lot of stuff here, and if you're closed-minded at all, you're going to miss the real true gems. Then about 2-3 weeks ago, I read this really interesting article, and it says that only 10% of the population have what is called the learning mindset. People who actually seek out and enjoy learning. And it was by the Harvard Business Review. And I thought that was fascinating, that only 10%. And you wonder why there's so many flatline businesses that aren't growing. I mean, it's incredible to think that if you only increased your business a small amount, for example, 3 areas of your business increased at 5%, 5%, and 5%, you'd have almost a 17% increase in production. Think about that. By increasing just a few small areas of your business 5%, you'd have a 17% increase in business. Now, go up to 10%, you're going to be up around 33% increase by increasing a small or improving a couple small areas, 3 small areas of your business. So it's really important to pay attention to these things. Now, if you're going to increase your knowledge base, then you really have to have that in mind before you're going to be able to advance, especially in this presentation here. And it caught my attention on a few of these things, like Warren Buffett, the most successful investor of all time, still reads for about 8 hours a day. Bill Gates said if he could be best at one thing, it would be speed reading, so that he could acquire more knowledge. Now, these are a couple of the richest people on the planet. They don't really need to learn anymore if you think about it from that point of view. I mean, they're that wealthy and knowledgeable already, yet they still want to acquire knowledge. And that's probably why they're so wealthy. One of my mentors and one of the people that I study, his name is Eben Pagan, and he had polled an audience, and it was rather interesting. About 400 people, I believe, were in the audience, and they all paid $10,000 to be there on a weekend. And he asked them how many people test market. And about half the audience put up their hand. Then he said, keep your hands up. He said, how many people test market once a month? And half the audience put their hand down, so they're about 25% less. Now he said, how many test market every week? And again, another half put their hand down, so they're really getting small. You know, there might be 12% of the market or the audience still with their hands up. Then he said, how many people test market every day? And there were 3 people left. He said, do you mind if I ask you how much you make? One was $3.5 million, one was $8 million, and one was $22 million by test marketing every day. And that's increasing your knowledge base, because when you're test marketing, you're learning about what it is that your market wants or does not want. Then Brad Fallon, and I think he's the low-income fella on this list. He, I believe, makes about $30 million a year, and said if you want to earn more, you must learn more. So I want to ask, what are the 3 ways that you can leverage your business? And if you think about it right now, in the grand way, I don't mean to leverage your business. You could go out and knock on more doors, or you could go, those are tactics. Those aren't the overall strategy. And there's a difference between tactics and strategy. So because this is not a live presentation, I can't ask you what it is that generally speaking, you're not going to be obviously able to respond because this is not live. So I'm going to tell it to you just the way I learned it. And there are people. You can, of course, hire more people. You can spend more money on marketing or get better at marketing. And then there's technology. These are the 3 established ways that you can leverage your business. Now, if you're going to hire more people, that's more legs, more eyeballs, and more hands in more places. That really makes sense, doesn't it? But what is the big mistake everybody makes when they hire more people? What do you think that would be? What it is? It's really quite simple. We have to give them better sales skills. If we're hiring salespeople to work for us as a realtor, the mistake that I see people make is they hire the realtor that there's going to come in and fill a position such as buyer agent, and they throw them to the wolves. They give them a minor amount of training, and they expect them to know how to go and sell. So what I try to do when I'm training buyer agents, and I have trained buyer agents where I've sat down with my knees in the back of the chair and said, okay, start calling. And on the 3rd call, that person started bawling their eyes out. And she turned and said, I don't think I can be a realtor. I shouldn't be in this office. This is way too advanced for me. And I said, no, you just hit the wall. This is the wall of fear that you have to break through. And when you break through that wall, you'll never look back. And in 2 months or 3 months down the road, that person was challenging me, saying she was better than me working with buyers and being on the phone. And that was my goal, to get her to that point where she could have that confidence. So what I like to do is start out and ask a person, what is the worst thing that somebody can do to you on the telephone? Absolutely, bar none, worst thing. Probably tell you to F off. Really, it boils down to that. They can tell you to F off. And real simple, that ain't that bad. And I like to make light of it and joke. And I've got ex-wives and ex-girlfriends all over the continent that have said that to me. And it's really not that bad. As a matter of fact, there's a couple of them out there that if I can ruffle their feathers that way, I mean, I feel like I've accomplished something. That's really what it is. And you want to know what it is that if you're afraid to call, you see, you're dealing with a couple of demons, and one's Mr. Lazy and they're on your shoulder chirping in your ear, and the other one's Mr. Fearful, the guy that's scared. He's chirping in your ear, and Mr. Lazy wants to go and lay on the couch, and Mr. Chicken's telling you, don't bother calling today. We'll go out and have fun golfing or something. Because that is the way we are, and our little subconscious mind is trying to talk us out of doing things when you really, as a salesperson, should be on the phone for a couple hours a day building your sales skills. If you're not building your sales skills, you've got nothing to fall on. Really, no excuse but your own. So get over it. Barbara Corcoran from Shark Tank. I read an article from her a while back. Very interesting. She said, do you know the difference between the people who make $50,000 a year and the salespeople in her office who made $5 million? Yes, $5 million a year. Simple. The difference was the ability to pick yourself up and dust yourself off after you got slammed. Somebody hurt you, a deal went bad, and the buyer went off with somebody else, or somebody yelled at you. And it doesn't happen that often, let's face it. That's the difference. And if you can take that into your consideration, you will do well. And then when I'm training people, I like to talk to them about the introduction call. The introduction call is the part of the call that if you are going to get your plane off the ground, that's the hard part. What I really try to do is I break it into two steps. One's the courtesy call. And then we segue over to what I call the fair weather script. And now the courtesy call is very simple. And on myself being James, if I was calling up Bob, I would say, hey Bob, it's James here. I just noticed that you visited one of my websites. I just wanted to make a very quick courtesy call to see that you got the email that we sent you, because it's going to help you and assist you in your real estate search. And then be quiet, because 90% of them are going to have one approach, and it's going to say the typical polite approach is usually being, I was just looking, or I was just poking around. So now we're going to segue over to what I call the fair weather script. And we call it the fair weather script because I use weather as a reference to break through that little barrier. Remember, there's a little wall there. They don't know you. You're a voice on the other end of the phone, so you have to dismantle it brick by brick. And the easiest way to do that is to look at the sky, and whatever the weather is in that particular moment, as you say, for example, what got you out poking around on a nice sunny day like today looking at real estate? And it's really that easy. And again, you be quiet and you listen to them. Now all you're trying to do is take that little bit of fear down that they have on the other side of the phone, that resistance that we all have. Now, when we're selling real estate, we meet it all the time. But when we are not selling and we walk into a furniture store, a car lot, a clothing store, and the salesperson comes on to us kind of quickly and aggressively, we naturally shut ourselves down, and we just, no, we're just looking. Even though if we have a wallet or a purse full of money just burning a hole we want to spend, we have that natural resistance. So it's no different from the perspective of being the realtor. Once you have that person in the position of being able to listen, you get to go back to the courtesy call and suggest to them that, well, as I say, it's just a quick courtesy call. Wanted to make sure you got the email because it'll be a link to the back end of the website where you can set up your own listing searches. You can have your own price, area, style. It'll send you price alerts, new listing alerts. I mean, it's a wonderful little way of educating. And when you're educating, you're selling. And in the early stages, you must educate. You see, if you go from the courtesy call and the fair weather script and you move into this, remember now, if you have to follow up on a person 7 to 12 times, you don't want to close on them. This is a value-driven approach. If you're educating a person, you easily then can walk a person step by step. You can walk them through the back end of the way your system works. It's a nice, easy, casual way of being able to educate a person. And when you're educating, you're selling, and you don't want to close them on the first 7. If you have to follow up 7 to 12 times, pardon me, well, just think about it. If you have to follow up 7 to 12 times, you don't want to be closing them hard. Other than a casual, have you seen anything that's caught your eye yet? So you don't want to walk them through and, hey, slam them, because if you slam a person, you're going to lose them. Their resistance up. You have to take down that resistance, build rapport with them, and then you can move through that process. The other thing I like to do is put them into a closed room in groups of 3. When I had buyer agents in groups of 3, one would dial till they got a live one, and so on, around the circle, to put them in for an hour a day, once a week, and that just strengthen their skills because they could all talk together about what it was that they had to do to elevate their own skill sets. Now, do you see how this can help you? It must, because it's, in my view, when I'm in a position where I can have something that helps me really quickly and easily, I want it. I'm going to acquire it fast. And To be honest with you, I belong to a very, very successful mastermind group. And when I'm in that mastermind group, I can ask questions that help me. Like, for example, one of my fears was public speaking. To stand in front of a large group of people made me very, very anxious. I had anxiety, and who wants anxiety? And if I got anxiety, I don't want to do this. So I asked my group for help. Well, lo and behold, I had a gentleman from Australia, one of the largest professional speakers in Australia, one of the most successful, and he offered to help me. He hypnotized me, and in 30 minutes, I was basically cured. It was amazing to have that kind of a result in such a short period of time. If you can see the benefit of something like this, it's something that usually I have to work with a person 2 or 3 times, and then they're off, hit the road running. They're successful because of what they've learned. Now, you must also refine your marketing skills. As we spoke before, people, marketing, and technology, the second, and this is the biggest stick of them all. And it's really unfortunate because it's often the most misunderstood areas of all people's businesses, not just real estate. So it's not meant to be a real estate specific slam here, but it's one of those things that real estate people are, I guess, how do I say this now? You're salespeople, of course. So when you're selling something, you can often be misguided in the fact that you think because I'm selling something, I am also a marketer, and the two are different. If you look at an institution or a big company, they'll have separate sales and separate marketing divisions. So separate the two, and you're going to become more successful at this. What do multi-million-dollar marketers say? The famous copywriter Dan Kennedy says that when you can get up to a 400% increase in lead conversion when you get the headline right. So marketing is designed to bring people into the funnel so that salespeople can do their job. It's a very simple process. And ultimately, we're going to cover this in greater detail. Now, the equally famous Joe Polish is what his name is, said in an interview, when worded correctly, he's had one direct response letter make him millions of dollars. Think about it, one letter. Amazing, truly. So being in real estate, what are the 3 main things that home sellers want? And this is important here. The 3 main things that home sellers want. Well, I'm going to tell you straight up. People buy what they want, not what they need. So remember that before you let your head wrap around this. People need a market evaluation, but they want the most money, quickest sale, or fewest problem. And this is important as we go through this, as you're going to see. The most money, quickest sale, and fewest problems. You see, people need an evaluation, but they need, at a higher emotional level, something else satisfied before they're going to work with the person who's giving them that evaluation. If they're going to connect with the person who's come over to the house doing the market evaluation for them, they're going to connect with the person that resonates with the one of the 3 that they fall into. And if you try to sell somebody on the problems, yet they're a most money person, or the quickest sale. I mean, now 50% of people are in the most money category, because the most money category, if you look at the houses that just don't sell, 40% of houses don't sell, then you think the quickest sale. I'm a quickest sale guy. I want to blow my house out in a month and be gone, and I also know as a past realtor that I'm going to get the most money if I sell fast anyway. Now my mom's a fewest problems type of person. Now she's always worried about problems, and I call her up one day and I say, Mom, I bought an apartment building and I'm all pumped. I got this apartment building, I got 10 units, man. I'm thinking, this is a riot. I'm happy. And she says, ooh, you know, those tenants, they can be problems. Well, I had to ask her politely to be quiet. I did not want to hear about the problems, but that's my mom's mindset. So as a realtor, if I'm going to sell to my mom, I have to appeal to her on the problem side of things. More on that as we go through this. Now, the quickest sale. If you're going to write and do write ads, you want to appeal to them on an emotionally engaging value proposition or immediate gratification. And this is the way to appeal to people. Most money, or write an emotionally engaging value proposition that appeals to the most money, the quickest sale, or the fewest problems. The immediate gratification falls more into the line of quickest sale, and we also must have a call to action. And this is left out almost virtually on all flyers, other than call now. I mean, and that's not really, if you take a look at flyers, and I've collected them for 20, 25 years, I've yet to see a really, really, really good flyer. It's amazing. I've got 2 or 3 this week, spring market. Agents are sending out their flyers, and I'm going to use one in this presentation to show you, actually, as we go through this. The idea of a flyer is not to get a phone call. It is to get a baby step past the trash can to the computer. So if you can get it past the trash can, this will then get you to the evaluation. And it's very important to understand this distinction, because if you can get that person to stop at the blue box or the recycle bin or the garbage can, wherever they're sorting their mail, not throw it, and they go, oh, that headline catches my eye. That's how you're going to do it. So if you take a look at the way we market in the hierarchy of sales, you've got corporate and brokerage. You're going to do institutional style advertising. Well, as a realtor, we can't afford to do that. Now, real estate sales, we advertise our houses and stuff like that. And then we're going to go out and we're going to try to market ourselves. And so we start selling features and benefits or how great we are. We think that, hey, I'm number one. That works. Well, you know, believe it or not, number one is one of the worst things that you can advertise. Some people won't work with you because they think that it's a little bit obnoxious. Only 0.03% of people think that's important when surveyed, so it's not even remotely close to the top 80%. If you've ever tried to write a unique selling proposition, you find that it's an extremely difficult thing to do because you're trying to be one thing to all people, and that is impossible. So really, and this took me a long time to understand, a unique value proposition is the way to go. Really, what it is tell them what it is, and then tell them how to get it. It's almost that simple. What is it percentage of people go to the internet to look at homes? Think about this now. What percentage? I have people tell me 80% to 100%. You know, most people hit the number right on the nose, say 90, 95%. So we'll go there. Call to action then. The call to action that you use, if 90% of people are going to the internet, then 100% of all people that you are trying to attract should be pushed to one of your websites. 100%. You can't even gamble to figure out what 10% don't care or don't use the internet. 100% of all people then you must push to the internet. And when you take a look at real estate signs, and this is why I say real estate people are not marketers, they're salespeople. Take a look at real estate signs. 90% today still do not have a domain name on their sign, and when it's there, it's in micro font, when it should be the biggest thing on the sign. This is called sales gravity. Sales gravity is just taking advantage of what it is that people were going to do anyway. It's going in the direction of where they were going anyway. And it's like, I mean, the only thing that I know that goes upstream is a salmon or a smelt, and they die at the other end when they get there. So you don't want to go upstream. Go downstream. As I say, people, that's where they're going anyway. 100% push them in that direction. This will allow you to get a higher opt-in rate. People are going to opt in and give you legitimate names and numbers when you appeal to them on an emotionally engaging way. There's no other way of doing this. So at this point, I must ask, I can do this in one of two ways. I could skip past this little blurb here, and I thought if I did that, then I would be leaving out a whole bunch of example here. So I thought the best way to show you what I'm talking about when it comes to emotionally engaging value propositions is to show you and lead by example. And if you take a look at what is on your screen now, it says discover the 3 secrets. How to successfully target home sellers without spending tons of cash. Because realistically speaking, that's the big problem with flyers. Most people, they do them wrong, and that's why they don't work. They send out far too many to too big an area, spread themselves too thin. They don't have the frequency. So there's a whole bunch of reasons why they don't work. But that is an emotionally engaging value proposition right there. And if I can get that by simply copying this duplicatable, easy to implement step-by-step guide, that may have my mindset. I'm going to give you an abbreviated version of what this training is all about, just so that you have an idea about what it is that I'm talking about. Now, flyermailsecrets.com. Now, how to successfully target home sellers with flyers without spending tons of cash. Secret number 1, you don't need to send flyers to a massive area to make this system work. A smaller area will actually produce far better results. And in the blown out training, you'll get this. This is pretty cool stuff. I think it's one of the most essential things that people could do. By way of what I'm going to show you here today, I think you'd have to be absolutely crazy not to do it. Anyway, step number 2, secret number 2, the goal of your flyer should be to get the prospect to take one small baby step past the recycle bin to their computer, not to initially try for the phone call. This alone will cause a dramatic increase in your sales. It just will. Most people try for the phone call, and we already know 90% of people go to the internet. Duh. I think that's the word that we're looking for here. Secret number 3, write emotionally engaging value propositions targeting the 3 highest wants of the seller. Notice I didn't say needs, because people buy what they want. Done correctly, and you can get up to 400% higher conversions. This will make you quickly become the dominant agent in any market. I'm not going to say I guarantee, but I will say I promise you this. If you go out and you test this and it doesn't work, in this sales program that I'm going to be selling here for Flyer Mail Secrets, $297, try it. If you 6 months down the road, I'll give you your money back if it doesn't work. That's a 6-month guarantee. It's that far down the road If you can show me the flyers you sent and show me the frequency that you deliver them at and it doesn't work, I will give you your money back. I'm that serious about how good this stuff is. After 8 weeks, market awareness will explode to 40% if you follow the system that I'm going to show you in the blown out version of the Flyer Mail Secrets training program. Market awareness after 8 weeks, you'd have to think of any other way. There's no other way of it, in no other media. It's a small dot relative to what you can do to nail people with flyers. You absolutely cannot do this. It's top of mind awareness that becomes important here, because if it's top of mind, think about it. People don't move for a year, but when they have to move, who's top of mind if you do the right thing now? A year from now, who's top of mind? I get flyers at my house about 3 times a year from people. None of them are top of mind. I mean, it's just not going to work that way. Flyers are by far and away the only way that you can target 100% of the market. Because even the people that are renting in the market you're targeting could still buy the house. Because of your market awareness that you develop, you're liable to get a call from them too. You would be lucky to reach 20% by any other medium. And I'm talking newspaper, I'm talking any other medium. Internet, flyers are the only way to go. Internet's not as good. Newspaper is not as good. Nothing. Door knocking. You're lucky to get people home if you're banging on the door, because some of them are going to be working. Flyers, when the person gets home, at least they're going to see them. You, by far and away, need to know your numbers better than anything else here to make sense of this. It's the only way I think I can really make you see this. And if you understand the average year between moves, I hear some sales trainers tell me, oh yeah, it's 3 per 100, 10 per 100, whatever. Think of the math. The average number of years between moves, on average, when I ask people, they say it's 7 years. 7 years, then divide 7 into 100. You get 14.3 moves per 100 homes. And trust me on this, as we go through this presentation, you're going to see it gets way better than this. Now, for every 1,000 homes, divided by 7, that's 143. That's huge. Doesn't count double ends and all that other stuff that I'll show you in a bit. Now, let's just take a look at a flyer here. This came to my mail today. Do you think that's a nice flyer? On the surface, I think it's a pretty flyer. It's nice. It stands out. But it doesn't work. Just sold. Call for your free market evaluation. They're swimming upstream. The domain name, if I was looking at that, it's not going to pop. There's no emotionally engaging value proposition. That is almost as just sold is almost the same as saying I'm number one. It's not the same as number one, but it's like it's in that same ballpark. People, you know what I mean? Unless you hit them with such frequency, maybe just sold will work, but I do not believe that that's going to be the most effective flyer. And this is the back end. Now, what I'm going to do is from here show you what I think is a decent flyer. Immediate access to thousands of Windsor and area MLS homes for sale. Now, if I'm designing this flyer in its true nature, I would break that down into the neighborhood, take out Windsor, and put the neighborhood that I was nailing. Resonate as personally as you can in your flyer. Have a direct call to action. That big arrow tells them where you want to go. And now, because in this here example, I'm using mirrormailers.com, because Mirror Mailers is where we have the multiple websites. And really in a scenario like this, you want to create a whole bunch of websites, one for most money, one for quickest sale, one for fewest problems. You're going to have your social proof campaign when you sell people standing beside your signs. Everyone has a different website. And because of the package we put together, there's cost isn't an issue. But you want to do that because you want to be able to track where your business is coming from. You want to see where people are really nailing the interest level here. So you make your flyers in small batches. And once you hit ones that work, man, sky is the limit. You will blow the roof off when you nail this with the right flyers. Now, here's another example of just how color will change. And this one here is the one of the ones that I use for your problem person, the person concerned about problems. And what I would do is, I'm pumping Team Goran here. Goran's a friend of mine, so I mean, this isn't going to one of the Mirror Mailer websites, but it just is by way of example how I would design a flyer. If I was designing the flyer in true nature, the 3 reasons would have its own websites, and it would be like the 3badreasons.com or .info or something like that. 52 weeks down the road, guys, I'm not kidding you. This is crazy. 52 weeks down the road, you'll have 75% name brand recognition following what it is that I'm doing. And if you look at the numbers, remember that 1,000 divided by 7, small area, double ends, sellers repurchasing, out of area sellers, out of area buyers, out of market referrals. There's over 200 possibilities for every 1,000 homes. It's an amazing, amazing thing. Now, more on the math. Show me the money, as Kevin O'Leary likes to say off Shark Tank. $431,000 average house sale. Now, I don't have the ability to point on this screen with a pointer, but if you take a look at the, I'd say 3 or 4 lines down, 28 deliveries, 1,000, 28,000, 15 cents, $4,200, way down to the second bottom line on the left, it says 2%. That 2% commission, $8,600. If that was 1%, you made a profit on one sale. I'm just giving by way of example here, if you had 6 sales, you'd make $51,000 with an average Canadian house price, $47,520 profit. That is an 11 times possibility. And I'm telling you, these are low because you could easily start getting a couple deals a month in a scenario like this. You're then well on your way. If you start looking at that's 4 times higher, you're taking a look at about a 44 times possibility of getting sales. 44 times over your investment. I just personally cannot ignore numbers like this. And it's the kind of thing when I was running my business, I played with numbers and math and I looked at the scenarios, put it all together, and this one made me sort of salivate. When I was running my show, I would run an ad, your home sold in 29 days or I'll pay you cash. It's pulling me 30 deals a year. 30 deals a year. I taught someone else in my local market. He was running now with 28 days. I tell other people now start running 27. He doesn't own 28. Do you see how this will help you? I mean, this has to be obvious. I want it to be so obvious that you're salivating at the possibilities. Technology should be designed to engage. The realtor sticky strategy is what I call this. Now, the realtor sticky strategy is websites that are designed to get people to continue coming back. So if you have an appealing website, not because the picture of you is so awesome, but because of the value it offers your visitors, you're going to then be far more what I call sticky. And sticky is, they keep coming back because you offer them so much value. You have mortgage calculators, moving day tips, you have land transfer tax calculators. That's all great. But now with our new websites, the advanced website is kick ass because now we can display thousands and thousands of listings from your real estate board or any of the neighboring real estate boards. Often some boards have overlapping boards. So now all of the listings are on your website and people can now go into your website and now they can go in and set up their own searches, view their own price, their own area, their own style, and then they can get price alerts, new listing alerts. It's amazing. This is so important for you. 90% of the people, what do they go to see when they go to your website? Is they go to see listings. So you have to have a very functional website that provides lots of listings, easy access, and you don't want to be sending them your board. Your board's dripping on them listings every day. No, you want them to go back to your website because now you become a value-driven agent. This is so important. This is the way we work this system here, and I just slow it down a little bit, and in my enthusiasm, I can start wanting to bite nails out of the wall. I get so enthusiastic about some of this stuff. What I want you to see is, and slow down and think about the feeder sites. And if you get this, your business will explode. I promise you that. We build what we call the mirror mailer system, which is a series of websites. One for the most money, one for the quickest sale, and one for the fewest problems. Now, the cool thing is for each one of these websites, they're one opt-in page. That's it. Just one opt-in page. The examples that I showed you back in there, back a few slides, those were the flyers, and the mirror website now is the same. That flyer and that website's the same. Now, the reason why we have them the same is because when that person walks into, back up. When a person walks into a Tim Hortons, they're the same. We're comfortable. They go to Starbucks, they're the same. Anywhere we go in any franchise, they're the same. Well, when the flyer and the website match, the guy doesn't have to think. The lady doesn't have to think. They go there, they're the same. They can easily start to get it right away. Where is what I want? And if you're offering them some type of, whatever it is, the 7 essential fix-ups that'll get your local, whatever your neighborhood is, home sold for the most money possible. Well, I want the 7 fix-ups. What are they? So you give it to them. They get there. They land. They see it. They right away, there's no mistake that this is all they have to do. So now we drive all the traffic that we can to all of these websites. Every one of them has traffic pushed to the websites. They immediately get set up then. This is the coolest part. They get set up on your branded advanced website. So you can go to, it's just amazing. This person now, out here, you have these ads for a singular offer, which doubles, triples, quadruples, or more your lead opt-in rates for value type leads. And they're automatically then signed up on you, and they end up being redirected and set up automatically on your branded website, the advanced website. This is just so cool. I wish I could tell the world each individual agent one at a time so that they got it. Because when you're talking sometimes like I am now, it seems like it's a pitch. And I wish people would just get it. They could go look and go, wow, I get it. I want it. So they land on a page like this right after they go and opt in on that one website that the satellite feeder sites, and they land on a page like this with thousands of listings to view. And we call this the sticky website strategy. And then if they came to right directly to your branded website, this is the page that they would see with an offer to set up their own personal search. And the cool thing is, if you take a look down at the cell phone number on the left, we're asking people to put in their phone number. We want their phone number so that the phone number is part of their password, giving you a higher possibility of getting legitimate information. We're building in all kinds of stuff in here. If you take a look at this, we're building what we actually have this in already. It's called heat seeker technology. And if you take a look at the profiles here, this is one agent that I pulled off the number of leads that he has that he's working with. And all of those leads are pointing to people who have been in the system and looked at listings at least 13 times, 5 times. Some are 0, some are 1, but the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 off one page, one snippet. That person, this agent has that many leads that he can go in and view and see, wow, those people are in. Who do you want to call if you're an agent? All the zeros or all the people who've been in 15, 20 times? I mean, I want to go after the 15, 20s. And if I go after the zeros, I know how to readjust my follow-up and make sure that they got their email as the courtesy call, just double checking. It doesn't look like you've been able to set yourself up on the website, etc., etc. So we built these websites with full CRMs, listing management, lead management. I mean, you can go to advanced websites and take a look at them on the outside, but suffice to say the back end completely blows away almost every website out there that I've looked at. And the reason why is because it's got this wonderful outside opportunity, looks great, offers lots to your visitors. On the back end, you get to see what your visitors are doing. You get automatic email to you, automatic email to them, automatic listing alerts, price alerts, tools galore, CRM, so you can go in and manage it. They sync with all of the other major CRMs out there, like Top Producer and Exact Contact. I mean, it's a powerhouse. It's an absolute powerhouse. So there you go. You want to have your people. When we go back to when we talk to hiring more people, this is the system, the scripting you want to train them around is how this system works. And that's why I replayed this slide. This slide now should make more sense from way back when we were talking in the beginning. Yes, hire more people, but train them how to educate people on how to use your system. Because there's the connection. There's the glue that bonds. I mean, it's the biggest, best, fastest way to grow your business, bar none. Now, Gold Rush leads. This is probably one of the most important things that you can put into the back end of your system because it's going to go out, and on Gold Rush, we set up ads on Google, pay-per-click ads. Now, some people say, oh yeah, but the internet leads are no good. You give your head a shake. You know, you're no good. If you can't convert these, you're no good, because I watched this. Hundreds of agents come in here and use these systems and they convert like crazy. What you have to do is be able to use the courtesy call, the fair weather script, talk to people, educate people, and work them through the system. Now, page 1, we come in. It's a 3-step opt-in system, and this is what's beautiful about it, is that people come in, land in the system, easy to answer that question. Choose areas. Everybody can choose areas. Step 2, choose style. Step 3 is where the rubber hits the road. This is a very important aspect to this because this is where most people bail on you, but you're still going to be able to get your 2 to 3 leads a day, and I'll show you, I'll break down the math as to how cheap this is. If you're people are trained, and this is why I went through the people, marketing, and technology. This is part of the marketing and the technology. The marketing on Google is going to push people to your websites. The people are going to be there to convert the leads, but they need to be trained. Remember when I said I'd get 60 leads in a day and I'd walk through and I could, yeah, sure, I sold some, but not a ripple as to what I could have had I had a properly trained team working with me to convert the leads, because I was spread too thin. If we take a look here, there's another good website here that we can take a look at, GoPro Seller Leads. Awesome for mail. I don't believe that people go to the internet to look for listing properties. I really don't. I think people go to the internet to look at listings. And that is why Google is good. In my opinion, to extend this a little further, Facebook sucks in this regard because you can get leads, but you're getting leads from people who are out there casually browsing and chatting with friends and looking at videos of kitty cats and dogs and stupid people falling in the lake and stuff like that. Then they see a listing and that listing goes by and, oh, that looks kind of nice, and they click on it. Yeah, they might sign up, but they're not serious. And I've had people go over to Facebook, play with Facebook for 2 months, come back very depressed that they wasted all that time. Not the money, because the money wasn't that much. It was the time they lost and the deals they lost for the big money. Now, GoPro Seller Leads, what this is, and I recommend that you go take a look at it, kick ass in the flyer mail department, because what you're doing is you're offering people value. They can go in and take a look at what their home's worth. It's a 3-step system where they type in their address and boop, there's a picture of their house. Awesome. Now, we wrap this all up, and I love that perfect storm type of thing. The perfect storm, and I didn't mention that way back when, is when you're following up on people, you're going to have, when you follow up, your email goes out, your phone calls are made, the listings, price, value, all that stuff, that match price, area, and value, they're all being sent out. Now the banner ads kick in. And the banner ads, this is so important for your business to keep you well-rounded and branded, because if you're doing banner ads, and in the perfect storm, there would have been direct mail too. But to go back to the banner ads here, the banner ads, why they're so important is because you're going to be showing up all the time, becoming familiar during your prospecting phase. So if you think about this now, 15%, that's 15% of all people who fill out a form on the internet buy or sell within 90 days. 50% buy or sell within 18 months. So we're looking for, back to the heat seeker technology that I showed you, we're looking for the 15%ers. Well, that 15%er, now they keep seeing you out there, you become very familiar. And I like to use what I call the Brad Pitt analogy. Brad makes $30 million a movie, and some are going to say, yeah, it's because he's a good-looking guy and he's a good-looking actor. Well, you know what? There's thousands of actors out there that are good and then good-looking, and they're not making any money. And you can go over and take a look at Tom Hanks. He's well beyond the years of becoming considered a good-looking young hunk. Still makes $30 million a movie. It's because we're familiar with them. And if you're working with a person and you're bonding with a person and you're educating that person and you're becoming familiar out there, you have upped your possibilities of being able to close more deals. Now, what I want to show you, I think, is probably one of the more, I would say, if not the most, how do I say it, convincing of all of this for the banner ad argument is, look at the number on the left, 79,000 views. The number on the right for $78. Less than a penny a click, or a penny a view, pardon me. Now, I have one more example. 60,000 views for $77. It's just so inexpensive. It's just one of those things where people can't. Now, pay-per-click budgets. Pay-per-click budgets, average, I have people as low as 4, and in that particular market, it's an anomaly. This person's blown it away. He's getting 2 or 3 leads a day on $4. That's not normal. Usually, you know, you're going to put $10 a day, but I have people in here with up to $200 a day. Banging it out, $200 a day, per day, every day. But most budgets are between $10 and $20. That is important. I hope you see the value of this. Now, we've come full circle. I've given you kind of a rough, abbreviated version of all of the things that we like to do here. You want to train your team. Under the people category, you want to train your team, script them on the first call, get the wheels off the ground so they're in flight, because after that, everything just seems to take care of itself. And you want to have scripts to explain your system, because education is really, truly, that's bonding and selling. At the same time, you're bonding with that person, you're taking them into another area of trust, and that's important. And then become a master at marketing. You really do, because if you become awesome at creating unique value propositions and baby stepping people to one of the opt-in pages, it will blow your business out of proportions. It'll amaze you. I had an experience here where somebody I was making a bookmark, and I asked them, they were looking at a bookmark. They were marketing an event, and it doesn't matter what the event is because marketing is all the same. And they were trying to get people to, go sign up for the event. And I said, okay, what are you trying to do? She said, we're trying to promote the event. I said, okay, but no, what's the flyer for? And they said, we're trying to promote the event. I said, no, what's the purpose of the flyer? Or the bookmark, pardon me. Well, we're trying to get people to sign up. I said, okay, where are they signing up? On our website. I said, so then tell me again, what is the purpose of your bookmark? Oh, she said, I get it. The purpose of the bookmark was to get a person to go to the website. That was it, not to market the event. It's baby steps are so important. And when you get that, each piece of your marketing then will change and become the ladder to success. And then technology. Engage your visitors. Use the sticky website strategy so that your visitors keep coming back again and again. And if they do that, you then build value, reputation, trust. Deals will fall in your lap. And this is the full cycle, by the way. The people marketing and technology cycle, you keep it going around and around and around, and you can eventually then how you can scale up more people, more marketing as your technology is built and better and it improves. It just, the whole system keeps going around. I guess at this stage, I should probably, most people at this stage want to know if they can get involved with me on this. And truly, I do get involved with people on this. There's different levels and there's a lot. So I will cover, I guess, if you're interested in hearing more on this and would like to know what the cost of all this stuff is, that's awesome. You can stick with it, or you might want to bail right now and just go elsewhere. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to break down what the costs are. And they're very, very low. The advanced websites that I talk about, the main branded websites that display thousands of listings from any board in Canada, $59.99. I mean, you can pick two of them for $84.99, any of the two up above, and they get as low as $109.99. That's $70 if you went and piecemealed 5 of those sites together. You can get one advanced websites and then all the rest. And all the others below that, actually, the Gold Rush Leads, are all off the Gold Rush Leads platform. So essentially what you do is you get one advanced and 4 of the others. And I mean, you're $109.99. I mean, that's really insane when you think about it. $60 for the advanced website, and then another $50 for 4. You're paying about $11 or something for each website, or $11.50, $12 for a website after that. I mean, it's incredibly, insanely inexpensive. There's a one-time $300 setup fee for one or for all. Now, there's ways that you can save on that also if you're interested in doing anything along the lines of lead management. And in lead management, we have 3 levels. You have the bronze level at $199 where I manage your pay-per-click. It's $199 per month paid every 3 months. So pay-per-click, perpetual sales loop. That's a sales training that I almost insist that people watch when they get involved in this stuff. And then there's the prospecting with video. That's included also. It's just another comp, another perk. And then the website setup fee. There's only a setup fee on websites. There's not on the management, but I knock off $100 on the website setup fee. Then you can go into our silver level, and our silver level is $299 a month. And the only difference there is you're going to get your pay-per-click. You're going to get tag remarketing in there for $100 a month more. So that's all I charge. It's a lot more than that if you bought it separately. And you're going to get the comp, the perpetual sales loop. You're going to get prospecting with video. And then we waive $200 in the setup fee, so you're down to $100 only on the setup. And then the GoPro, and this is where the most of people who are interested tend to sway to. Now, if you're interested in this, you're going to get a pile of stuff. You're going to get the pay-per-click for $199, tag remarketing. Look at the value. I'm going to add up the value here for you because this is really where it's all at. Tag remarketing, $199. Those are your banner ads. The video ads, and the video ads are little 15-second ads that'll show up on all your competition's website. If they're stealing music, and most people do, they borrow music. They think that it's easy to do, and they don't realize that the deal is with YouTube, your ads will show up on your competition website. A really cool idea. So now you're going to get the perpetual sales loop videos, $197. Prospecting with video, $197. I'm also going to include the full version of the flyer mail secrets, $297. That's a separate price for anybody who wants it. Then you're going to get listing presentation secrets, $297. It is killer. It's not built yet, but it's killer. It will be over the next month or two. That's included in all of this package. The buyer presentation secrets. I will walk your buyer agents through a system, all of the closing scripts, how to be able to get a person on buyer agency. I call what I call the easy out, how to get them out of your office if they're not interested. It's a beautiful, this kind of a thing right here, by the way, if you get your team chained on those 2 little products right there, you'll be making, I would estimate, an extra 50 grand, 25 grand minimum per agent. 25 to 50 grand for an agent, per agent who knows how to script and be focused on this stuff. Then you're going to get the Commission Gusher lifetime membership, $999, as long as you are involved with any one of these things. The cool thing is, if you took this package right now and in 2 months you said, I didn't want it, you still get to keep all that stuff. 2 months down the road, all you have to do is be subscribed to at least one of my websites and you're a lifetime member. So coaching on all systems. You can argue any price you want. I'm going to put $10,000 in my head because I think I'm worth it. But as you see when you go through here, change that number to whatever you want and it'll still add up to being one heck of a value. You get unlimited websites. It's $129 if you paid the monthly amount. Really, and that's insane. It really should be about $200 or $300 or $400. I know of other companies, by the way, that are selling this system for $2,200 a month. Anyway, I won't say their name here now because this is a recording and that's not fair, but if somebody asks me personally, who is it? I'll tell you who it is. And we're waiving the entire $300 setup fee. So the GoPro lead management system, we're going to sell to you for $399. Websites are $84.99. So this is, and the cool thing is that's all you pay. You don't pay any more you get unlimited websites, but you're getting them for $84.99. Isn't that insane? I mean, that is incredible value. So if you take a look, pay-per-click, average cost per pay-per-click, people start out on roughly, $300 a month, depending on your market. Some of the markets are a little harder to work because there's more competition around some of the bigger cities, but usually not that much more. So there you go. GoPro seller leads. If you take a look at it, your pay-per-click, $199. Tag remarketing banner ads, the value, $199. Video ads, $199. Perpetual sales loop videos, $197. Prospecting with video, $197. Flyer mail secrets, $297. Listing presentation secrets, $297. Buyer presentation secrets, $247. Commission gusher lifetime, $999. Coaching on all systems, $10,000 value. Unlimited websites, $129 value. Waiving the setup fee. Total annual value, $20,159.64. I always have to laugh at that because that's like when you go and negotiate for a car, they throw in the pennies. Now, I didn't do that on purpose. That's just sort of somehow how it all added up together. But in any event, your investment, $4,799.88 a year. Not bad. Total value then, $20,159.64. Your management investment to me, $4,798. We reduced the websites, remember, they're $1,500 total to $839.88. So your total annual investment is $5,639.79. $5,639. That's an annual investment. So your investment per month is going to be $469.99 paid every month, but I'd bill it in 2-month installments. You're going to pay every 2 months $939.98. That's a pretty good deal. Let's look at it from another perspective. Net profit on sale. Your investment, $5,639.79. Average sale price of a home, $431,000. Commission, 2.5%. That's, I would assume, is fair. Adjust it to whatever you think if it's not. Your net after investment on one sale is $5,135. Less even the PPC at a $10 daily budget, you still make $1,535.21, even if you only sold one deal in a year. As I say, I like to make these things when I see stuff that's no-brainer, when I look at it so obvious that I can't fight it, I have to go forward with it because the numbers just make sense. The value's all there. Pretty darn cool. Look at the value you're getting. You're getting all of that stuff again. The pay-per-click, as I mentioned, $199.99. Tag remarketing banner ads, $199.99. Awesome. Video ads, $199.99. Perpetual sales loop videos, $197. Prospecting with video, $197. Flyer mail secrets, $297. That right there, I really do believe a person like that flyer mail secrets will make somebody in the neighborhood of $50,000, $60,000 when they nail it right. Buyer presentation secrets, again, $247. And all these results are going to vary. Let's face it, any agent who goes in and does it right. I have people who come and tell me, yeah, I tried a flyer, look at this, take a look at it, I want to send this out. And I look at it and I go like, whoa, boy, what is this? I don't know what you're selling here. So each person that I work with, I get them to send me their flyers so that I can evaluate them properly and make sure that this is what I think you should do. It's easy to do because we're getting someone else to do the graphics, right? Buyer presentation secrets, $247. Commission gusher lifetime membership, $999. Coaching on all calls. Coaching on all systems, $10,000. And those systems can be any system in your system whatsoever. It doesn't matter. I don't care if they're not a part of what we're working on. All systems. Everything you're working on. Let's have a little talk one-on-one about it. Because that's really what's going to be the thing that you need when it comes down to whether you should carry on with an investment in that program or not. And there's many times I've had people say, no, don't spend the money on that. It doesn't work because I've been there. I've looked under that stone. It doesn't work. For example, Facebook, in my opinion, for real estate agents, waste of time unless you can get your clients to tag you on their Facebook page. And that is another lesson on how I'll beat that one to death on another in the back of the Commission Gusher training program. I talk about how a social network marketing strategy is called the Baker's Dozen to social network and referral marketing, and that's inside Commission Gusher's lifetime membership. unlimited websites, and you're getting them for like $84 on this package, and we waive the setup fee. So you have no setup fees. Your monthly investment's $469, paid every 2 months, $939.98. You got all those websites that I just flipped past. Setup now takes about a week. It's going to take you approximately a week. The complete, you have to go in. What I want you to do now is go in and go to leadstoluxury.com. Leads to Luxury, it'll take us, I'm going to give you 36 hours from the time of sign up here. And you're going to go in and it's a $300 additional reduction on that monthly payment amount that we just spoke about. So instead of paying the 930 some odd, knock off another $300 and you're going to have yourself probably, if not the best system you've ever worked with in your life. You'll have, the option to back out. And I say this sincerely, that I do not think that you can fail, period. My name is James Osmar, and I really do look forward to working with you. It's one of the biggest thrills that I get is to watch somebody set up systems and watch them explode, and then to listen to the excitement on the other end of the phone and going, wow, James, this system really did work. Wow.